That's what the governor to me is all about. You can't turn down a challenge. You're willing to fight anyone. I was doing an interview once and had a balcony, and also bang, the fella's been thrown off the balcony, and he's hit the table, he's rolled off, and he's run up, and the interviewer's gone, what just happened? No, I mean, he got slung off the balcony. He got slung off the balcony. I mean, well, it's straight, mate, it happens.
Talk to me about the first unlicensed fight that you put on then, Joe. What was that?
With the first one, Ricky come to me, and it was crazy in them days, to tell the truth. You know, it was, I've just come from being regulated to the max. You know, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, weigh-ins, you've got to do this, weight, you know, boxers got to be on this weight, boxers got to be on that weight, everything. And then all of a sudden, we've got Caesars, do what we want.
Yeah.
You know, fights, do what we want. And it was funny because I tried to take the expertise of the pros, a bit,
Take it back across.
Yeah, take it over and run the shows a little bit. You know, behind the scenes, you know, make them run smooth and without too many delays and everything like that, and make everything run like clockwork. But then I still had that naughty side about me, you know, where we're just, you know, making some fights and you know, we shouldn't have been made really, but you know, we you know, at one stage we was going to have tag midget boxing, you know what I mean, you know, and we didn't do it. But you know what I mean, that was the type of thing we was doing, you know, tag boxing. Who's done tag boxing? Why don't they do it in wrestling? Why don't we do it? We do it in bloody boxing.
Well, that would have been a good show.
You know, we used to get boys. I used to get one of the Millwall boys fighting West Ham boys.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. But we used to go, Joe, you know that place is going to go up in the fucking head, don't you? You know, I mean, you can't put 300 West Ham in the same venue with 300 bloody Millwall and booze them up all night long, you know what I mean? But I used to say, no, don't worry about that. Look, I'll have about 20 of my boys there. We'll be in the middle. We'll sort it out, you know what I mean? And Caesars went off every time we put a show on. There was always fights in the crowd.
Yeah, it looked like an absolute riot. And I see obviously where the crowd were allowed to jump in and try it with the fighters, and that was awesome, you know?
Yeah, it was mad. I was doing an interview once, and it was, and we're sitting down. It was about 2 hours before the show, and they had a balcony in there, and me and Rick English are sitting there. The fellas talking to us, and also bang, like that. Also, like, fella's been thrown off the balcony, and he's hit the table. He's rolled off, and he's run up, and the interviewer's gone like, what just happened? And I mean, he got slung off the balcony. And he got slung off the balcony. I mean, well, it's straight, mate. It happens.
Shame you didn't get on camera.
Yeah, you know, but I just carried on with the interview. You know, then he's like, "What? This is normal." And I went, "What? Yeah, you know." And that's the way it was. We expected it. Do you know what I mean? You know, it was just a crazy bloody place, and the memories we had there was just unbelievable. You know.
And talk to me about the creation of the Guvnor title. Obviously, the boys back in the day when your dad doing it, that was for the Guvnor title. Then obviously it must have gone away slightly. Then where did you bring the Guvnor?
Well, actually, it wasn't for the Guvnor title.
Yeah, well, that one, it wasn't officially for, but it was unofficially for who was the Guvnor.
Yeah, it was you know, the Governor's a term. It's a term where, you know, a London Cockney term or a London East End term or a London term. You know, other people use it around the country as well, you know what I mean? I'm the Governor. Yeah. You know, and when Lenny's talking, you know what I mean? So, you know, don't worry about on the night, we'll see who the Governor is. And it carried on. And then again, the press picked up on it. That was again, you know what I mean? There's one of the press done a headline, "Who's the Governor now?" So everyone started calling him Roy, the Governor. You know, but it was never, you know, it was never announced in the ring, this is for the Governor title or this is for the, anything like that. But it just become a tag attached.
But that's where they sort of tagged it and attached it. That's what made you then create the Guvnor title down the line then.
Yeah, and you know, and then Lenny had a book, The Guvnor. And then there was talk of Lenny's film before My Name Is Lenny.
Good luck, Lenny!
The original film was going to be called The Guvnor. And, you know, I knew the guy who had the rights to it. And I was going to get involved in that, you know, but in the end of the day, you know, it was I wasn't Lenny's son. So I didn't want to get involved in it, to tell the truth. If I could have helped Jamie, I'd have helped Jamie. But I didn't want to do something because I wasn't Lenny's son. I wouldn't do that. And so I pulled out. But then the Guvnor, then all of a sudden we started promoting the shows at Caesars, and the heavyweight title, Ricky started announcing it in the ring. Like the first fights for the EBF, English Boxing Federation title, British heavyweight title. And then Ricky started announcing in the ring, right, now then, this is a fight for the English, the EBF, right, see who the Guvnor is. Yeah. It just happened like that. Yeah, and it just, and people started interviewing, and people started talking and saying, you're the Guvnor, Sven Hamer. And then we just picked up on it, to tell the truth, started putting it on the posters.
Of course. So when was the first sort of semi-official one where you put on the poster? Who's the first?
Sven.
Who was the first Guvnor?
Sven Hamer, yeah, he was. And then, the original belt was the Roy Shaw belt. Yeah. Because Roy used to come to all our shows.
He used to go to all of them and give the belts out.
And so, we asked Roy to his blessing. He went, yeah, definitely. And Sven boxed that, defended that title for quite a few years. Yeah. Boxed everyone. He had, any challengers, ex-pros he boxed. And it built up, it became something.
Which is good, that's what you need with the first champion, don't you? And how good was Sven in terms of compared to Roy or Lenny in their heyday? Were they as good as you've seen in the unlicensed, Roy and Lenny, or did you see much better as time went on?
It's
hard to compare, isn't it?
There's two lots. You got your Roys, your Lennys, you got your Johnny Waldens, your Cliff Fields, and your Sven Hamers. Right, one side of them come from professional boxing. Yeah. The other side come from, I know Roy done a bit of professional boxing, but it was a long time ago and he was a middleweight. But then you got like your street fighters, your tough men. And really a street fighter shouldn't win against a man who's been a professional boxer. Like, I hate when people say to me, who the one out of him and him. I hate doing that. Because a fight is a fight.
Yeah, generational stuff's hard to say.
But anything can happen in a fight, do you know what I mean? You see that the other night, Dillian White was coasting the fight and he got caught with a left uppercut, bang, it was over. Anything can happen with a fight. I always say, the man who hits, the man who catches the cleanest shot first should win the fight, And in a street fight especially. But, when you're looking at people like Sven was like 17 stone, solid muscle, been a professional boxer.
Yeah, someone like Roy's going to have no chance in middleweight, is he, against someone like that?
No, I couldn't see how Roy and Lenny could have beat Sven. Sven, you got to remember we're a pro fighter, isn't he? He's always had a few pro fights. No, he ain't. He's been in the gym since he was a kid, most of them. Been amateur. They've been, learning how to move your feet, slip a shot, moving, learn how to just lean back a couple of inches and you're out of range. Do you know what I mean? All these tricks what become habit with a pro fighter. You can't just put a pair of boxing gloves and learn that in 1 year. You can't, do you know what I mean?
Of course, I appreciate that myself. I've been around a load of hard men and that, knocking people back there. When I go and see actual boxing gyms, I see the fitness of the professional boxers and that, and it's a completely different gravy, isn't it? Yeah. So talk to me, who took over the Guvnor title from Sven then? So Sven was your first champion as the unofficial, then turned into the official sort of Guvnor at a certain point, and then...
And then Sven, he retired, he gave it up, and then we had Welsh Phil, we come in, he held the title for a while, had a couple of tough fights, and then Phil got injured, and then all of a sudden we had... I can't think the way it went round now. It was Joe Cax. Yeah. Joe Cax wanted to fight. And Joe Cax had been fighting on the undercard. Joe was a good kid, good amateur. Never went pro, but he was a good amateur. Big, solid fella, 6'3", 17 stone, fit and knew how to move. And then we was trying to, he kept driving me mad to fight for the Guvnor title. I kept holding him back. And in the end, I said, all right, you fight. I couldn't match him up. I couldn't find an opponent for him. And out of the blue, I phoned Sven up. And Sven was thinking about coming back, but he'd been out for about a year. And then all of a sudden, what happened with, I phoned him up. I said, look, I can't match Joe up. Do you want to fight him? So I went, yeah, I'll fight him. So we had a good fight. So, you know, the old Guvnor fighting for the fella coming up against Joe. And Sven got beat on points. It was a good fight.
Who did you want to win that fight?
Sven.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I had loyalty with Sven. And, but Sven, he weren't fit. No, he was fit. He was fight fit, but there was rust, the ring rust around.
Been out of the ring for a few years. Yeah. Did he get stopped?
No, he went on points, but he just couldn't get going. You know, Joe won. You know, but it was just one of them fights where, you know, everything Sven was doing, he was a second behind Joe. Every time he's throwing a left jab, he's getting beat at the jab. You know, you could see him getting frustrated. You could see in his mind what he wanted to do, but you know, and then you know, maybe he might have trained, but I don't know whether sometimes when you get to that age, you think take a fight too easy. And you still might want to train, but have you got the discipline?
Yes. So who did you say it was Joe that beat Sven then? And so then Joe became the Guvnor? Yeah,
Joe was the Guvnor. But before that, we had Norman as well.
Who's the fucking Guvnor?
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about Norman. How good was he? He's made a lot of noise recently of late on the internet. Yeah, talk to me about Norman, how good he was, how you get on with Norman then and today. And
Norman used to come to a few of the shows. He was a big, colourful character. And then we was going to build a fight up with someone. And that fight didn't happen. And so we put Norman in the ring, and he won the fight. He won the fight, and then the fight what we was meant to make, which you know, we said it a few times anyway, it was going to be against Dave Courtney. Dave Courtney got nicked. We was going to have it at Alexander Palace. That fell through. So also now we give the first fight. We basically give Norman he fought against a guy called JJ. We just wanted him to win the fight, get the title. And he won the fight, and then it was a build-up. We were going to build it up to the Dave Courtney fight.
Were you giving him a little help on the way then?
No, you just give, in boxing, you got your mandatory and you got your voluntary, you know, and you know, boxers, you know, you can't be boxing a number one contender or every fight, do you know what I mean? So a boxer might have a little bit of a leg up, an easy fight to build a big fight, do you know what I mean? So that goes on in boxing, you know, and that goes on since bloody time began. So, you know, we've done that. And then, also, then I had a show in Cambridge, and Norman phoned me up, he said, can I box on that show, Joe? It was about 2 weeks from the fight, because he lived near there. So I went, all right, got him on. So we got him on now, and he boxed the kid. Dolph won the fight. And then I said, right, nah, the Courtney fight's not happening. You've got to defend the title. I've got a couple of kids coming up who want to fight you. Welsh Phil, who was the Welsh national champion, like our Welsh champion, and Gary Sayer, who was the London champion. I said, they both want to fight you. So, you know, you're going to have to fight them. You can't hold the title and not fight these people, you know what I mean? So, and then, you know, Norman said, look, can I have one more fight before I fight them? I'll be training and all that, and I need to get my fitness up. I went, all right, so we give him another fight, and he boxed Stevie off. Then we all, you know, and then me and Ricky English are sitting there, and we're thinking about making a big fight. Welsh Phil and Gary Sayer boxed on the same show.
Yeah, trying to build that.
Yeah, and then I was still, it was a funny situation really, because Ricky wanted to get one of them up in the ring to challenge Norman, but I didn't know what one we was going to get to fight Norman at the time, you know what I mean? I didn't know whether we was going to, you know, let Welsh Phil fight him or Gary Sayer. So I said, no, leave it, Rick, leave it, don't let no one get in the ring to challenge Norman on that fight. And then afterwards, you know, after having a chat with both of them, I said to Welsh Phil, I said, right, you can fight him. And if you beat him, which Phil would have beat him, I said, you'll have to fight Gary Sayer. Big Gary, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then, but what happened was, you know, then Norman retired. We was just about to do the press, and we was just about to do everything. And then, you know, I don't know for what reason, you know, maybe he had private reasons or whatever. And he phoned me up one day. I said, right, we're going to do a press conference soon and start getting this fight underway and all that. And he said, I've been thinking about it, Joe, and I'm calling it a day.
So did Norman have any proper fights, or were they all sort of leading up to the proper fights? Did he have any tough fights where you'd put him in?
Challenger.
He did what?
He didn't fight someone who was coming and putting money in.
So was, in your opinion, was he a proper Guvnor at any point? He never, it sounded, If you never had a proper challenge, did he ever win the title, really?
You've got to be like Sven, Phil, Sayer, Joe Cax. All these guys boxed each other.
So they're proper governors. That was the right thing. It'd been passed in the right way.
You know, even Decker and Welsh Phil, or the fight didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of reasons why it didn't happen, but they were still. That's what the governor to me is all about. You can't turn down a challenge. You're the governor. You're willing to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, any place, as long as the money's there and the deal. Do you know what I mean? You're willing to fight.